To listen to the anthology for the first time was always a kind of a cult experience. The story that I've told other people is the story I've heard from them, which is that you would be taken down into a dormitory room, preferably below ground, in someone's basement, and someone would motion you over to the tape recorder or to the phonograph. And that's exactly how I came across it. Someone had pirated someone else's Folkways anthology.
It really intrigued me because of the booklet and all that Harry Smith knew, and wondered where this guy was from.
He was actually trying to shake the walls of the city. This Newsweek guy described the anthology as the roots of the roots. And right on.
If you look at the bibliographies and the cross-reference discographies that are in the original explanatory booklet, the scholarship at work there, the encyclopedic cataloging mind, this isn't something you do in a couple of weeks with a lot of peyote. I don't care what anybody says. This is library work.
When Harry's anthology first came out, it provided all of us with a conduit, with an avenue to music that as yet we had not experienced at all.
The first tune from the anthology I heard was Train on the Island. Such a thrilling and unfathomable, improbable piece of music. That's true, I think, of all the music on the anthology. It all has a kind of mystery and novelty that it simply doesn't lose.
There are hundreds and thousands of people who've been affected by it, who've been influenced by it, who may never have heard of it, and may never even have heard any of the recordings collected on it. But it simply seeps in as a set of references, cues, and gestures. Someone might have heard 2 verses of The Cuckoo. Someone might have heard a little bit of somebody imitating the Reverend J.M. Gates.
I wasn't exposed to the Harry Smith anthology back in the 50s. I got all my stuff secondhand from people who had heard it, I guess. Like Dave Van Ronk. I'd go down to the Gaslight and hear Dave Van Ronk doing these songs. I thought he invented them.
John Henry left his hammer lying there. Take this hammer, carry it to the captain. You tell him I'm gone. Tell him I'm gone. I had a copy of it, of my own, by 1954, 55. And by that time, I probably knew every song on it.
Harry Smith was drawn to people who performed commonplace music, shared music that everybody knew. Uncle Joe knows that song, and Aunt Martha knows that song, and there's nothing new about what you're doing, Mr. Boggs. We've all heard this song before. Well, just let me sing it to you one more time. And then he sings this song that everybody knows and no one's ever heard anything like it before. And Harry Smith had an ear for that kind of people taking a step away from their backgrounds, trying to stand out, trying to say, listen to me.
I've got those gambler's blues. Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she may search this wide world over. Harry wasn't a mystic, he was a deranged rationalist. And everything that he did had a system to it.
He was like this
gigantic data squirrel. He would go, I've read stories how he would go out, like equivalent of people who go out to garage sales now looking for first editions of Hemingway that somebody's great aunt died and they didn't know. So he did the same thing with very obscure things from the 20s and 30s, and it was the only one that's, because the difference, it's all out there. It's the person who can gather it into a proper sequence. There's the genius. Sequencing is the 20th century genius in the era where there's so much stuff.
Why Cajun music, Celtic music, blues music, gospel music? Why is that it? Because Harry Smith understood that there were certain traditions in American music that were sympathetic to each other and that drew on each other, and there were other traditions that didn't. So these traditions that he brought together were, in his mind, a single tradition.
But I do remember, hearing one thing followed by another and go, what?
Hell, have you been fishing all the time? I'm a-going fishing too. Have you bet your life, your loving wife, catch more fish than you?
When you go from Train on the Island, say, to a goofy cowboy song, and go from this goofy cowboy song to Henry Thomas singing Fishing Blues, that for me is well, yeah, why not say it? It's a transcendent moment.
It made me sit up and listen.
Inventing the concept of social music, which is music that's played in groups or for groups, or that presupposes a community. It's not just gospel music, it's not just sanctified singing, it's not just dance music and fiddle pieces. So it's all about the concept of community or family. It's not individualistic. That's what separates it in Harry Smith's mind.
Said I'm going back where I came from. I'm going back now where I came from.
Ballads is an academic category, and Harry Smith followed it faithfully. These are songs that tell a story in a linear manner, beginning, middle, end.
So I turned his head and he walked away, saying, I miss you rue the day that you were born. You're giving me the devil cause I wouldn't want to born. Giving me the devil cause I wouldn't want to born.
Songs is another academic category, but one of his own devising. But again, it's based on the notion that there's a folk lyric tradition. There are thousands upon thousands of disconnected verses and couplets and phrases and lines. And in the song tradition, or the songster tradition, the artist takes bits and pieces of these commonplace lines, none of which he or she ever wrote, and fits them together in idiosyncratic or new ways.
I was born and raised in East Virginia, North Carolina. I did roam, and there I met a young maiden.
And then the singer puts these together in a way that creates the impression that he's telling you about something that happened to him. This is my life I'm singing to you. All of this is real. It isn't, but that's the illusion produced by the song tradition. So you go from academic to a newly created category to surrealism. That's how it looks to me.
Well, what's John writing? Well, what's that writing? Well, what's that writing?
full of his shoes. Out of the flock, oh, well, you are choose. Tell me who's that riding?
John the Revelator.
Who's that riding?
John the Revelator.
Who's that riding?